Hello, this is Soundout here, and today we're doing an update on the Mill Creek Ultraman Blu-Rays, or DVDs in the case of Tiga, Dyna, and Gaia, Blu-Rays in the case of Ultraseven X and Superior 8 Ultra Brothers, as well as a response I got from Keith Aiken of Sci-Fi Japan on the last video. All that and more, right now.
It's morphin' time!
So it's been a few months since I talked about the Ultraman Mill Creek Blu-ray releases, and I did a whole video on this. If you haven't seen it, it's one of the more popular videos of the channel of late, and I actually broke down what has been going on with the releases, how they started, how they've been going, and sort of the quality slips that have been noticeably happening. And I wanted to provide an update to that because things got interesting. Because I wanted to talk about specifically how we've gotten some more releases since then, and there's some coming up I'm a little concerned about. So let's get to it. First things first, I did end up buying Tiga, Dyna, and Gaia. I had mentioned in the previous video I wasn't going to do that. I didn't feel like doing it. I didn't feel like paying full price. I definitely got these on sale, so I only paid about around $17 a set, which isn't too bad. And I want to talk about these in depth, but we're going to do that in a moment. These sets they're a mixed bag, to say the least. I'm not entirely happy, but I'm not entirely hating them. And then recently we did get two releases just like a couple weeks ago, and that would be Superior 8 Ultra Brothers and Ultraseven X on beautiful Blu-ray. Those are really great, and we'll talk about those as well. There's one release that came out since the last video that I didn't get for various reasons. It's Ultraman Zero, the Chronicle. Now, for those that aren't aware, the Chronicle series for Ultraman are compilations and clip shows that compile a bunch of stuff into a TV format, mostly to fill time between seasons. Since Ultraman seasons nowadays are 25 episodes, they need to fill the other half of the year or something, so they do these Chronicle series. Now, the Zero Chronicle Blu-ray is weird, because I don't think there's a reason to release the Chronicle stuff. I feel like you could just do whatever new footage there is as a bonus feature. But they did release it, but it's not exactly what you might expect. So I didn't pick it up, and I didn't really see anyone talk about it either. There's an Amazon review from DLRX I want to read, because I feel like it sums up the set entirely. And they gave it a 3-star review saying, a disappointing set. Important note, this is not the original Japanese broadcast presentation of Zero the Chronicle. It is the Toku streaming server's version of this that you can watch on Amazon Prime, and it's not great in that regard. So it actually isn't the version that Japan got on TV. It seems to be some kind of weird re-edit for Toku HD or international streaming in general, which is bizarre. The person broke this down into, basically good and bad, which gives us an idea. He said the good, the Ultraman Saga portion is indeed the director's cut of the film featuring the Ultra Brothers fight. And yes, Ultra Zero fight is indeed in this set, but not in a complete way. So I mentioned with the Zero sets, they're missing Ultra Zero fight, which I thought was important because there's a lot of stuff that happens there that comes up later in Zero's story. And it sounds like it's not got the complete Zero fight because it's broken up into the episodes of Zero the Chronicle. And then, having Ultraman Saga having director's cut stuff, but again, you're having to watch it in a weird format. You can't just click, let me just see the director's cut stuff for Saga. And then they said the bad. The set is all over the place in how the episodes are presented on each disc. They're out of order and feel really disjointed. I don't know if that is the difference between the Toku HD version of Zero the Chronicle and the original TV broadcast, but they basically said, Disc 1 is the Darklops Zero side story, then the Zero movie. Disc 2 is the Saga movie, then Disc 3 is the Ultra Galaxy movie, and then Killer the Beast star, and then Disc 4 is Ultra Zero fight, but only Part 2 is shown in its entirety. Part 1 is only briefly recapped. This is disappointing. For the uninitiated, all the movies and specials are cut and trimmed to be presented in a TV format as opposed to the movie specials they originally were. I don't see a reason to pick up the set. Pretty much the only reason to get it would be for those scenes from Ultraman Saga that were cut with the Ultra Brothers, and then also the Zero fight, but there's other ways to see that. The thing is that I don't really understand why the set was made, and to hear that the episodes are out of order, because definitely Darklops Zero does not come before Zero's debut. It's very strange, and I'm not going to buy it to take the plunge unless it's cheap or someone gifts it to me. But I would say just don't buy that set, and my advice to Mill Creek is if you're going to do the Chronicle stuff, don't release the whole Chronicle stuff. Just release because some of them have new footage. Like I know the Orb Chronicle has some new footage. Compile all that together into some set and give us Ultra Zero fight, maybe with the director's cut of Saga. Licensing aside, that's just something we got there. Yeah, kind of a weird set. But let's look at the Tiga, Dyna, Gaia, Ultraseven X, and Superior 8 Ultra Brothers sets in a little bit closer detail, because there's a lot to talk about there. Alrighty, let's talk Tiga. So this Tiga DVD set, okay. I'm not in love with it, but I don't hate it as much as I thought I was going to, if that makes sense. In the previous video I did was like, what the heck is going on? And I still have that same kind of vibe. But having it in hand, the show itself doesn't look too bad. Like in terms of quality, the show doesn't look too bad. It's definitely overcompressed and it didn't need to be, but it doesn't look too bad. It's the extra special that was included that looks absolutely horrible. The movies and specials in all of the Tiga, Dyna, Gaia sets, terrible. But it's not horrible for the show. It looks fine. And that's pretty much all I can say is it's fine. If this set was 7 discs or 8 discs, it would be great. It would actually be pretty good. Because it's only 6 and they overcompressed everything, it's just fine. And I don't know why we're only doing 6 discs on these DVD sets. On the Blu-rays, it's fine. No, Blu-ray 6 discs, great. I'm watching Ultraman Jack like right now while working on this video, and episodes look fine. There's 9 episodes of disc, but when we put 9 episodes on DVD, not so much. So I think in terms of Tiga, Dyna, Gaia, the upcoming Maybe set, they need to be more discs. Or conversely, if you're going to squeeze the show into 6 discs but put the specials on a separate set, that would have worked better too. Now this set does have a couple crippling flaws due to licensing. First of all, it doesn't have Tiga, the Final Odyssey, the sequel movie. That's presumably due to the music by V6, which is under Johnny and Associates, which is also where Daigo's actor's under, and that's an agency that's pretty much just terrible. And the fact we got Tiga at all is kind of a miracle. So because of that, we don't have Final Odyssey. And that's a bummer, and I hope that can get resolved in the future. And then the other thing is that Take Me Higher, the theme song, is only on 2 episodes. It's for some reason on episodes 3 and 4, none of the others, because they have the replacement version from, I don't know, there's a replacement song at some point. But the original theme song, Take Me Higher, is on 2 of the episodes. And I don't know if that was a mistake or if that was some weird licensing thing, but there is Take Me Higher on this set, which is nice that it's at least there in one form. And that's pretty much it. I don't have else to say. Subtitle quality, the subtitles seem to be the same translations as the Funimation DVDs from the early 2000s, but I can't compare those directly, so I don't know for sure. But that seems likely, based on what we'll talk about later in this video. But anyways, Ultraman Tiga, they brought the spine art back. So you can see we got Tiga, multi-power and sky types, which is pretty cool. Back of the packaging. Giant of Light, Take Me Higher is ironic when it's on 2 of this. But yeah, it's got the description here. It's got that same art, mostly the same art from the spine. You know, it's multi-power and sky type. And then it's got the thing about the side special, which, I mean, it's not that great of a special. So it's okay that it looks terrible, but it really shouldn't look terrible. Inside, Tiga, that dude. I'm sorry, I'm bad with kaiju names. That's my fault. Inside, we've got a booklet, and then there's a nice like black and white image of Tiga, and then the Ultraman Tiga. So it looks very similar to a lot of these Showa Blu-rays. We got Tiga multi-type there, sky type, power type, multi, sky, power. Pretty cool. Yeah, this is the problem. See, this is episodes 46 through 52 plus like a 45-minute special. It's a little too much on these discs. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the first one, it's 9 episodes on a disc. It's fine. It's not great. It's fine. I wish it was better. Booklet-wise, here's Tiga. On the back, it advertises the Showa sets, which are basically like the best releases of the Mill Creek sets. But inside, we've got, you know, bases of Tiga's forms, so multi, sky, and power. I don't think this is meant to be like one of those blacked out Daigo images that shows up in Japanese photo books. I think it's just supposed to be a Guts suit, but that's what it makes me think of. It's got like some of Guts' gear. And then it has the episodes. And what I like about this is that in the Showa booklets and I think the New Gens, they listed all the kaiju and like what episode they came from, and then they had the episode titles as a separate thing. But here you got the episode title, description, air date, not air dates, just director and writer, and then you have the monster. So you can have actual, so Gazort, that's the guy on the back of the package. But you can see which episode is with which monster, and I like that kind of better than the other method. So I will take that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a fairly baseline DVD set. It's hard to recommend because of the video quality, but if you're looking for a Tiga on a physical disc, the fact it exists is a miracle in and of itself. So take everything I said about Tiga and apply it to Dyna. It's pretty much the same boat, except Dyna the show doesn't look too bad, minus the logo. The opening logo, which is like this CG animation, looks really bad. Like you can see the video quality just breaking within that logo. But the problem with Dyna is that it has a movie and a special. So there's more on this set. Is this also 52 episodes? I can't remember. We'll look at it in a moment. But yeah, Dyna, the show looks fine. The specials and movies look terrible. It looks like YouTube in 2009 terrible, which is not good. On the side, we got Dyna, and we got Dyna with his 3 forms. I haven't watched Dyna yet, so I apologize. I think it's Flash, Miracle, and Luna. All right, that's just me guessing. So anyways, we got, Dyna text on the back, his 3 forms there. So it does have Tiga and Dyna, Warriors of Starlight, and Dyna, Return of Hanjiro. There's Dyna. On the back is one of the kaiju from Dyna. I'm just not going to try to sit here and remember. Interestingly, Dyna's in a different case where discs 1 and 6 are on the outside covers, but let's pull this off. So we got Dyna, and Dyna, and Dyna, and Dyna, and Dyna, and Dyna. And Dyna's only 51 episodes, so I mean, you squeeze in a little 20 more minutes there, but you're adding a whole movie. So it's still 46 through 51 plus a movie, plus a special. Too much on one disc. This is just, it's bad. What it should have been, and I would have allowed this, I don't know why I'm like the permission guy, but if it was disc 6 was up to 51 and then there was a 7th disc with the movies and specials, would have worked out so much better. It would have helped the series look better. It would have made the specials look watchable. As is, the movies and specials just look bad. Ultraman Dyna here. So yeah, I mean, same thing. Okay, yeah, so Flash, Miracle, and Strong. Okay, so I don't know where Luna and all that came from. That might be Gaia. It was Flash, Miracle, Strong type. Guts, Super Guts stuff for that. And then same thing, episode titles and episode monsters. Pretty cool. It does still have, Daigo does still show up in the last 2 episodes. It's not like they edited him out. So there isn't a Johnny's and Associates issue there. And the theme song is intact for all of it, which is great. All right, the last of the TDG trilogy is Ultraman Gaia. Again, packaging looks good. You got Gaia and Al on the side, Gaia and Al on the back. And again, a movie plus a special. Again, if it was 7 or 8 discs, this wouldn't be as big of a problem. I like this dude, giant eye. So you got Gaia and Al. The problem with this set, which you're going to see right away, is that the case type they used has the tiniest, weakest little spindles, and these DVDs have been sliding around. And I want everyone to be aware of this, because you're probably going to end up having to buy this online. And yeah, you're going to probably have some discs that are unsettled. And that's a very, very bad thing. For example, I've checked this disc and it works, but you can see all the scratches here. I'm probably going to ask for a replacement from the store I bought this from if I can, because that's really bad. And I don't know if another copy will show up any better, but yeah, no, I wanted to get this filmed before I did any of that. This is not good. Mill Creek, if you're going to be doing DVDs, which I wish you were doing Blu-rays, I can understand if there's a licensing thing making you do DVD, fine, whatever it is, please use better cases, because this is not acceptable. If it was a Blu-ray, I'd shrug it off a little bit, because Blu-rays are typically scratch resistant. But this is bad when the disc can pop off like that easy. And it worries me, because these discs are DVDs. They are fragile. So if you're watching, which, well, someone worked with Mill Creek watched my last one. So if you're watching, please get better cases. Like, don't go for these cheap ones. I know there's case shortages. Just delay the release instead of releasing DVDs with that loose of a spindle, because that is worrisome on many levels. That being said, booklet's nice. We've got, Gaia V2, Gaia SV, Agul V2, all the stuff for, what's their thing, Guard and Jig. And then you got, again, episodes, kaiju, that sort of thing. Yeah, so outside of the slippy disc problem, it's good. Again, video quality is same as Dyna, overly compressed when it didn't need to be. I would have preferred each show be its own thing, and then the movies and specials for the TDG Trilogy be its own set. But this is what we got, and this is what we're stuck with. At least the spine art is good. These sets are a disappointment for me, because with the other sets, even when we talked about bad subtitle quality or inconsistent subtitle quality with some of the Blu-rays, they were still Blu-rays. They look nice, they sound good. These look, again, for the show, they look fine. It's the movies and specials just look terrible. Like, they look like they're, VHS tapes running, especially if you're watching it on HD television, which, yeah, SD video and HD TV is always going to be a little funky, but this is an HD era you're producing these in. So I would have preferred if these sets were 8, 9, even 10 discs. I think 8 would have been a good balance. That's just from personal experience, but I don't get why these are capped off at 6 discs. And this is the case for 80 and the Ultraman, which are the previous DVDs, and the upcoming Maybe set is listed at 6 discs, and that is 52 episodes plus 4 movies and specials, and I'm terrified. So if Mill Creek, if you're watching this and it's not too late, delay that Maybe release and add more discs, or if there is more discs, update the Amazon listing or something, because the Amazon listing still says 6. And I'm really concerned about how that show's going to look, because the shows, again, look fine. Not good, just fine. It's passable. The movies and specials don't look great, and I'm really afraid for how Maybe is going to look, because if it's 6 discs, they're going to probably have to fit all the movies and specials on a disc 6. That means the show's going to be on 5 discs, which means it's going to be 10 episodes a disc. And at 9, these are barely looking okay. So this is something that needs to get fixed. This is not great. I would have just bought the movies and specials separately if that was a choice, because that would have been better than trying to cram it all into one. Okay, so this was interesting. Ultraseven X was originally announced to be a DVD, and everyone on Twitter, including myself, were like, hey, why is the first HD produced Ultraman series a DVD? It's natively HD, why is it not a Blu-ray? The answer that we pretty much came up with was, okay, well, in Japan, they only released it on DVD, which is also dumb. This show should just be on Blu-ray. It doesn't take any additional work. But after, I think it got delayed, and then there was an update, and Mill Creek put out a tweet saying, hey, it's actually a Blu-ray, the listing was incorrect, which somehow there was incorrect packaging art for a DVD. I'm not going to worry about it. They said, oh, it was incorrect. It's not a DVD, it's a Blu-ray. And here it is, and it's a Blu-ray. And it looks fantastic. Oh my gosh. After Tiga, Dyna, Gaia, after 80 and the Ultraman being DVDs, getting this, oh boy, I was very happy. So Ultraseven X, I think, wasn't as popular in Japan as it is in the West, and I'm really glad that Tsuburaya let them have a, I find it funny that the disc made in Mexico stamp is so huge here. Anyways, I'm glad that we got this on Blu-ray, because it absolutely looks great. 6 episodes a disc, fantastic. No complaints from me on this set whatsoever. I think the subtitles are fine. I haven't had a chance to sit down and watch through all of it yet, but subtitles seem fine. Video quality is great. Audio's 2.0, which is standard for Japan. They don't really use surround for a lot of things. But anyways, 6 discs, 6 episodes a disc, 2 discs, fantastic. Looks amazing. Cannot recommend enough. Definitely pick this up if you can, because it's a great looking show, and it looks like it should have this whole time. And it's absolutely the best presentation I've seen of Ultraseven X. All right, so Superior 8 Ultra Brothers, no big controversy, pretty simple release. This is a crossover movie that has Tiga, Mabius, Dyna, Gaia, Jack, Seven, Ultraman, and Ace, and it's pretty cool. It's nice to see it on Blu-ray. Now, I think this wasn't bundled with Mabius, because the rest of Mabius is a DVD set. See, oh my gosh, how's that all going to fit on 6 discs? But it's nice to get this on Blu-ray. Pretty nice cover art as well. I will say I like this pop art sort of thing we got going on here. But here's your more traditional Ultraman cover. Same thing with them on the back. Once again, disc made in Mexico is printed really large. And then yeah, it's pretty much just here it is on a Blu-ray. There's a disc, nothing too fancy on the inside. Pretty straightforward, but I kind of appreciate that and wish some of the other Heisei movies were done like this as opposed to being bundled with the shows. But yeah, simple release, excellent stuff. Audio quality, subtitle quality, video quality, all good. And it has the V6 song for the ending still intact. So at least we got one of the Ultraman V6 songs. But yeah, Spirit Ultra Brothers, no big problems. An excellent release. So now we come to the interesting part of the video. Now, I'd made this video a few months back, and I wanted to sort of resolve something that we had in the comments. I wasn't expecting this, but I'd mentioned Keith Aiken of Sci-Fi Japan in my previous video because he had made comments pertaining to the releases with specific information that people took as fact because he'd worked on the releases. And yeah, we actually got some clarity on a lot of things from that previous video. And I reached out to Keith Aiken as a response to his comment to see if he may have wanted to do a follow-up in a video format where we could discuss it, maybe do an interview sort of thing. He hasn't gotten back to me on that, so I figure, all right, let me read the comment to everyone here because I feel like this information should be out there. And again, this is from Keith Aiken himself through the Sci-Fi Japan YouTube page. I'll post the comment on the screen as well, but I will read what he has to say and general responses as we go along. First of all, he says, very late to the party here, but I just saw this video and wanted to address some of the comments regarding some online posts of mine about the Gridman and Tiga sets. Soundout12 seemed unsure of what my involvement is with the Mill Creek sets, so to explain, I was hired by Mill Creek to be a consultant on their Super-Rai releases. My job has included writing the history articles used in the booklets for the classic 7 shows, the ones that got steelbooks, so that's Ultra Q, Man, 7, Jack, Ace, Taro, Leo. Writing some of the packaging and press releases, fact-checking, making sure things like monsters and character names were consistent from series to series, tracking down materials, letting Mill Creek know about existing English dubs, tie-in specials, movies, etc. I'm not full-time in-house employee of the company. They're based in Minnesota while I live in California, so there's a lot of emails and phone calls going back and forth between us. So that's good to know. That definitely explains why I think the Showa 7, as I'm going to refer to them as the Showa 7, they were better sets than the others. They had more of that depth and detail. They had the thicker booklets, the better presentation, and had the better subtitles. And it does seem like Keith Aiken's input on that really helped make those sets better. So I'm really glad that they actually did consult with him on that. For anyone wondering why a specific series gets released on Blu-ray or DVD, or why a movie or special isn't included in a particular set, it mainly depends on what Super-Rai can provide. Some titles aren't currently available in HD. Others haven't been made available for international licensing due to factors such as pre-existing deals, music and likeness rights, and so on. The same goes for the content with the booklets, the episode guides, characters, kaiju profiles, etc. All come from Super-Rai, and they haven't done that for all their titles. So that explains why we only got episode guides for the 80, or the Ultraman and Ultraman 80, or why there's no booklet with the Zero stuff. Seems like whatever Super-Rai will provide is what Mill Creek will release, which is reasonable and understandable. It's nice to get that clarity, especially when talking about Blu-ray versus DVD. There may have been, I think, I've mentioned Johnny and Associates in reference to Tiga. So for those unsure of the history with Ultraman Tiga and Johnny and Associates, I'm going to link to a Vintage Henshin video where Mock Dent talked about the history of Johnny's V6 and Tiga and why there's so many legal issues. And I think it's really enlightening if you want to know about that sort of thing. With the Tiga set, I think the reason why it and Dyna are DVD, even though they get Blu-rays in Japan, is because the contracts for international licensing, which would have included Tiga's English dub at one point, with Johnny's was for DVD. So going with that, that makes sense, and Gaia would be on DVD as well. Also, Tiga, Dyna, and Gaia aren't HD shows. They were done on videotape, so whatever Blu-ray was released in Japan was likely an upscale, similar to Gridman, but maybe not as good as Gridman. But they may have only been really able to release those because of the licensing due to Johnny's and other talent agencies. It may have only been DVD because that was the format that existed at the time. So, Keith Aiken continues. The subtitles Mill Creek uses are also provided by Super-Rai. Some of those subs were produced or commissioned by Super-Rai, others came from previous licenses like Crunchyroll, who then provided those subs to Super-Rai. That makes a lot of sense. Some of the stuff like Ginga was definitely the Crunchyroll subs. Others, weren't. Some were the Toku HDs. Whatever previously existed is what Super-Rai has got, and that's what they'll give out. Mill Creek will then do their own passes to fix typos, check character kaiju names, make things clearer, etc. But the base for the subtitles will always be whatever Super-Rai has. So essentially, that's just continuing forward, is that Mill Creek will do some tweaks as needed, but they're not retranslating everything, which also explains why we get them so fast. Something like Kamen Rider Sentai was slow out the gate with Shout Factory because they have to work on each of those shows from the ground up, whereas Mill Creek and Super-Rai, because they've been trying to get international deals for years, have a backlog of subtitles ready to go, and that's why we're getting everything as quick as possible. All right, continuing forward. I've never seen the Toku version of Gridman, but I've heard from other fans the subtitles were a mess. Absolutely, ton of typos, weird syntax errors, grammatical problems, weird choices. There's a swearing child in the show because of the way the subtitles are done. I spoke with Mill Creek throughout the time they worked on that set, and subtitles were a regular topic of those calls. They did more work on those subs than the other Ultraman sets, with multiple phase passes sent back to Super-Rai for approvals and input. I understand that. I'm sure there was a lot of work done because there was grammatical errors fixed, but there's several that still remain. And it's very obvious when you look at the set, even if you don't know translation stuff, just looking at ways some of those sentences are written, it's not great. So I don't know how many passes. He doesn't either, but it apparently went back to approval back and forth, but something was amiss there, and I'm still not too sure about that. Going forward, he did say, my understanding at the time was that it was a new translation was done, and that's what I reported, and that mistake was mine. So he does admit that, he did misreport that, and that's understandable. Communication between companies, especially between an international distributor and a North America one, and then someone who's reporting and kind of consulting on some of the releases, something got, moved around. They did a lot of work on the Gridman set, but they didn't do a new translation. The information Keith Aiken got said new translation, and so that's where that miscommunication came up. So I don't think that's a fault of Keith Aiken's or even Mill Creek or Tsuburaya. It's just communication breakdown. It happens. It's just one of those things that comes up in business, and that's just how we ended up thinking it was new translation when it actually wasn't. All right, moving forward, but I've also had some fans saying that the subs are identical to the Toku version, and that's not accurate since several hundred lines were changed to correct grammar, character names, etc. I definitely agree on the character names. Some of the grammar is still weird, and that could be for various reasons. But they did make sure all the character names are consistent, because even with the Toku HD subs, they would spell characters' names 4 or 5 different ways for no reason. So I'm glad that, they did take the time to make sure that part was consistent. And that's why the subtitles are an improvement. They're definitely not identical. Some of the lines are, but a lot of them are different. And that's definitely nice to see the clarity. This was interesting, because this was a mistake on my part, and he called me out on it. Said in his video, Soundout12 strongly implies that I removed the post about the Gridman subtitles and another about the music in the Tiga set. Screenshot at 20-21 shows someone posted on an enemy page, quoting a post on some page replying to another person whose screen name has been redacted. This makes it extremely difficult to trace back to my original post, but I can say I never deleted it, nor did I delete my comments regarding Tiga. You can find the thread where I explain why Final Odyssey wasn't included, and that I didn't know if Take Me Higher would be used or not. And he sent a link to the Facebook post, and I did confirm. That is exactly what he said. For when I went looking for it, probably due to the nature of Facebook, it never came up for me. But once I had the link, I was able to find the exact post, and I was able to find the source. And so I do want to, say my apologies. I did not mean to misquote anything or misconstrued anything. I simply worked off of what I was able to find in my own research, and I wasn't able to find the original posts, but I do have them now, so there we go. To close out, he says, apologies for the long post, but I hope that answers some questions, Keith Aiken. So it definitely did. I think, some of the stuff we speculated on, that, Mill Creek has to work with other subtitles they get, formatting is whatever. I'm glad to hear that clarity. Like, we have a concrete, yes, they can only do certain formats based on what Tsuburaya has available or what Tsuburaya asks for, which is why it was nice that we got Ultraseven X on Blu-ray, because I think they may have had to ask Tsuburaya, hey, can we actually do this on Blu-ray? Also, hey, we're going to use the subtitles that they have because that's what we got, which is why some sets may be delayed. Like, there is some sets that we've gotten earlier than others, probably because those subtitles already existed, whereas they may have to commission ones or find them or retime them or whatever for other sets, and that's why we haven't seen, some of the ones like Cosmos or Nexus. So it's nice to see that we've got something going on. So that was pretty much it. And that's pretty much it for this update. There is more on the horizon. I mentioned the Mabius set. I'm incredibly concerned if the Ultraman Mabius DVD set is in fact 6 discs. I feel like that's way too low for how much they're packing in there. If there's time, I would love to see it delayed. It's supposed to be out in May. If it could get pushed to June and just get a couple more discs added, something, push it later, that set, as is, I don't see how that set can't be a disaster at being 52 episodes, 4 movies and specials on 6 DVDs. That's insane to me. We need more discs. Whatever approval needs to be happened, that needs to get pushed for, because it's not gonna turn out good. That set's gonna look awful. That being said, there is some hope, because we do have 2 new sets that have gone out for pre-order. They haven't been officially announced yet. But we're getting some of the most obscure Ultraman in June, with the Ultraman Zero movie double feature, which is listed as a single DVD, but both Zero movies are like 45 minutes or an hour. It's only like 2 hours worth of content, so it's fine. And then we're also getting a DVD set of the Ultraman Kids anime that I've never heard of before its announcement. And that's going to be 26 episodes on 4 DVDs, and that's fine too. That's going to be totally golden. Weird times ahead, but I definitely am looking forward to those 2 releases because of the obscurity and the depth that they're willing to go. We also still are waiting on other sets in the future that have been announced for streaming on Tokushoutsu, like Cosmos, Nexus, and Max. So, as time goes on, we'll see which releases come up next, but I'll probably do an update again after Zerth and Kids, because, yeah, and then we'll see if Mabius is as terrible as I think it's going to be. Man, that one's really got me nervous, and I hope it's not as bad as I'm imagining it'll be. And maybe some miracle, like with the Ultraseven X set suddenly being Blu-ray, this will suddenly have 8 discs. Whatever it is, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown, this update. Stay tuned for future ones. If you like Ultraman, I got a review of the Ultra Replica Orb Ring coming up in a week or so. So stay tuned for that. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on a video. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button. Leave a comment down below and let me know any questions you have about the Mill Creek stuff that we could address in the next video, because I feel like it's important to talk about this. Also, be sure to check out Hero Club at hero-club.com for Ultraman news and more, and my awesome graphic designer on Twitter at darkclaw643. And until next time, this is Soundout saying goodbye.